coming straight from the cockpit. It's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. I am, as always, the fucking pilot and the magic of the internet, bringing me another cool cat to sit and chat with. Tell me, who the fuck are you? What do you do?
What's up, team? My name's Brian Casserly, and I own pussfoot.com.
Pussfoot.com. All right, that sounds fun. What's it about?
Yeah. Really, it's just a community of extreme sports enthusiasts, mainly skydivers, and no jump numbers too low or too high. Everyone gets together and we party.
Nice,
and,
nice.
Chill.
Pussfoot.com. So when you say all extreme sports, obviously primarily skydiving, but you've got, I'm guessing, climbers and divers and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, a bunch of scuba divers, a lot of skate, snowboard, some surf.
Wow.
But, the idea is eventually we, just keep growing it and it becomes like a world community.
Nice.
It doesn't matter your skill level.
Well, I think that's probably kind of the cool thing about extreme sports in general is even though they are drastically different sports like skydiving and skateboarding, the mentality I think that goes into them is pretty fucking similar, which makes it really cool. And
Absolutely.
I always like hearing about shit that I don't know how to do. So hearing about some kid that's a badass skater or all the other crazy shit that happens nowadays has got to be awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. Excuse me. And it's nuts to see like some of these skaters like right off the bat are 10 times better than Tony Hawk at like 16, but there's nowhere for them to go, right?
Isn't
like
that
the
crazy?
whole industry is sort of, it's nuts. It's nuts. The two kids that we sponsor are doing incredible things. Just, like skating off the roofs of buildings onto, trucks, and while they're moving, it's outrageous, the stuff they do.
Sure.
So
Well, it's kind of funny
it's been
because when skateboarding got started, when I was still a kid, which was a lot longer ago than I'd like to admit, the idea that riding a skateboard would eventually be considered an extreme sport was ludicrous. But you watch the shit that they're doing now, and it stands your hair on end.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, especially at that age. God, that's got to be freaky as the parent of a kid that wants to jump a skateboard off a fucking building.
Oh, absolutely. You watch the parents, they all come out, which is cool to watch them be engaged. I guess it's better to have your kid not using heroin and buy him a skateboard. But, they're sitting there and they're shaking when they're doing half these tricks. And
oh, hell yeah.
It's outrageous.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
It's cool to watch the parents engaged. So it's good. But,
well, for sure.
mainly, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say for sure. Watching, getting the parents engaged nowadays with their kids' lives is a pretty difficult thing to do, and prying the phone out of their hands. So I'd say a skateboard's a dramatically better way to go.
Oh, absolutely. I have 3 kids myself, so trust me, anything I can do to keep the phone out of their hands is super important.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
absolutely.
Let's backstep a little bit. So you've got the community of extreme sports coming together, but how did you get started? I mean, what was your first extreme sport? What made you decide you wanted to do something that the rest of the people out there think are a little bit, off the wall?
Wow, that's a good question. Grew up in the 80s, so I had an older brother who would always be doing crazy stuff, and I just wanted to tag along.
Nice.
So I guess it started with like BMX bikes, skateboarding, and it just sort of progressed up until I was in my mid-teens, and my knees weren't doing so well, so it I moved straight into jet skis, started racing.
Oh wow.
Went pretty far with it, about as far as you could go, and met my wife basically, and everything just died down. It was it. I just had this mundane life as an engineer. As I got into my early 20s, I got married pretty young and just sort of settled down and missed my life, I guess. But had kids, did the responsible dad thing, and then they were again glued to their phone all the time. So I bought a camper and started camping and
Nice.
getting the kids out. But still missed it. Very boring life. Didn't do much of anything. Just camped or hung out with the kids. And
Right.
that one day we went up to Gardner, New York, with the camper, and they were doing a crane pick. So me as an engineer, I'm watching the crane and totally into it. And kids are bored. They don't want to play in the creek. It's kind of cold. And look up, and there's just canopies everywhere. My daughter looks at me and she goes, "You don't got the fucking balls to go do that." No.
Your
So then
daughter
you should know
punked you
about my
out?
kid. Yeah. So you should know my kids are totally allowed to curse. They sound like sailors. I have 3 daughters. And they will talk to you like we're talking right now.
Awesome.
Fuck, bitch. It all comes out of their mouth. When they're near grandma or at school, they know it's a different sort of environment.
Sure.
But she punks me out. I'm drinking a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go do it. So I drove over to the ranch, and I waited there for like 6 hours, totally sobered up. I was like, what am I doing? I'm terrified of heights, terrified. But I don't want to look like a little punk. So I go up, I do it. And when I landed, my instructor, Jerry, goes, there's 3 smiles. He goes, smile 1, thank God I'm on the ground. Smile 2, that was fun. And I cross it off my bucket list. And smile 3, I'm hooked on crack.
Yep.
And he goes, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I go, no, you won't. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I booked the KOA. I did my ground school with Linda. She scared the hell out of me. And I was about to leave, and I was kind of nervous. I'm like, I'm going to do my next jump. And that was it. I just was hooked.
Wow.
And I didn't want to let my kids down. So
Sure.
That's where skydiving came in, and it just blew up. And I can actually think of the moment when I realized this was for me. It was, everyone at the drop zone was so welcoming and would tell me anything I wanted to know. And it was just all about it. And I was like, man, I really like this. And I started doing it slowly, but, balls out, but slow with the money thing with the kids.
Sure.
And I would always bring my daughters with me. And one day I landed, it was probably I don't know, I was on solos. I don't even know what jump it was, but my daughter comes running out into the field and she goes, Daddy, girls do this. And that was it. That was it. And I booked a trip to Arizona because I had a bad flat spin and I wanted to try a tunnel. And I brought her out and I put her in the tunnel, and that's where she started. And it's just been a family affair ever since. So definitely pretty cool.
Well, it's pretty fucking cool that you started your skydiving career because your daughter basically said you're a pussy if you don't do this.
Yes, she did.
That's awesome.
It was, absolutely. But we just took off. It was, what do you do next? Where do I find this information? How do I do this? How do I do that? And that's where I started Puss Foot. Was really, let me put this all in one spot for everyone.
Isn't it funny that you get as soon as you get into that life, the skydiving life can be so engaging, and the community can be so engaging that some of the coolest ideas and some of the biggest plans come from the people that are the newest in the sport, which is awesome.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even have my A when I first started this. People were looking at me like, who are you?
Sure.
What are you doing? Getting annoyed almost with me, but I like to sit in front of the computer, and I never sleep, so it went hand in hand.
Well, that's kind of that's kind of the thing too. Is I remember coming up and I came up in the mid '90s with skydiving, and the new people definitely got overlooked, and you kind of were left to your own devices past a certain point. The instructors that I had were fantastic, and they took me to a certain level. But once I was a competent skydiver on my own, it was all right, go find your path, which, depending on what drop zone you're on, doesn't necessarily leave much. And that stuck for quite a while in the sport. You'd almost disregard the newer jumpers to some degree. You'd go jump with them and have fun, but you heard the same stories all the time and the same excitement over this and excitement over that, and it didn't become boring, but it just was commonplace. And then you'd hear one that would come up with an idea, and you'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. But now it's those ideas that it's funny this many years later. I'm like, wait a second. I remember when this was just a bullshit idea from a newer jumper, and now here's this and that and the other. It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. I hate seeing the newer jumpers left behind. I mean, some drop zones, if you got tips in an ass, you're taken in. But a lot of the guys are just sort of left there on their own accord. And, some drop zones are just so cliquey that you can't sort of find your path. And that's another reason, why I started this, was I've been in that scenario. So I wanted to make an environment where, anyone can come walk up to me and I'll go jump with anyone. I don't really care.
Sure.
I'm not the greatest skydiver in the world. Never will be because of my age, but I try as hard as I can, and I just engage all the new jumpers, and I'm able to help them on their path or influence them on gear and stuff like that. And it's been a good mix.
Sure.
Well, a lot of really cool people and lifelong friends doing what I'm doing.
Oh, indeed. I mean, it's very much the what I like to call the band of brothers mentality. I mean, the sport can be so intense and so involved that you very quickly make lifelong friends, which is fucking awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just such an intense thing. And you're right. I mean, it used to be back in the day, especially, yeah, if you were a swinging dick, you were kind of on your own in the sport. You had to find your own way or bully your own way. And I kind of discovered a long time ago that I was always just going to be kind of an average skydiver. I was a good tandem instructor, but I know better. I was a good camera flyer, but I know better. I certainly know better free flyers and swoopers and all that stuff. And for a long time, that kind of bothered me because I'm like, well, fuck, I should be better, but... And I was working in the sport, chucking drugs and shooting video and doing AFF and all this stuff. And then
Sure.
I hung up the spurs to fly the planes, and when I came back to jumping, I figured out really quickly that being a mediocre skydiver is just more fucking fun.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
especially
no
if you can
pressure.
just engage with people. Like I think it's also kind of neat. Like that. I don't ever intimidate any jumper.
Sure.
So it's big thing I'm doing now is I do a lot of load organizing, and the drop zones are loving it because I'll take up that jump number 26 who normally wouldn't go to a boogie, but now they know I'm going to be there. So they're like, hey, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go jump with either Brian or one of the Puss Foot crew because they're going to take me up and they're going to do fun stuff with me and keep me safe.
Sure.
So like our biggest thing is, hey, we're going to come out to, San Marcos in a couple of weeks now. And we're just doing zoo dives. That's all I'm going to organize. And it's 4 people. And I don't care how many jumps you have. We're going to go have some fun. And I'm going to show you how to keep it safe.
Nice. Nice.
And they love it. So it's been working out.
So you get started in the sport, and you're kind of making your own way, and you come up with this idea. How did you start to implement it?
Got a website and came up with a cool logo and just started passing out stickers and saying, hey, this is what we're about. Come join our Facebook page. And people started doing it. And then, hey, let me go find some people who might want to, write an article or something about, what it's like to be an instructor in a wind tunnel.
Right.
And it was cool for a little bit. But then I was down in DeLand on one of my first excursions, and I didn't know where to camp. I didn't know where the bathroom was. I didn't know anything.
Right.
So I guess what really started Puss Foot was we just traveled to drop zone and taken all the information about like these DZs, and then I put them into a really easy to read manner that's maybe like 5 minutes, but everything from where to go buy beer or tampons to where to get a tent and an airbed and where to put your tent park. So we have these, like, I call them guides, these like huge guides, just everything about that drop zone.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for skydivers.
Exactly. The Fromers,
Awesome.
The Fromers of the crazy people world. And it's been working out well. I get a lot of good, feedback on it, and people asking me to come out and check out this DZ because they're going to go there. So we just keep traveling around, and my wife's so super cool. I'll come back from one trip and she's like, oh, I got tickets. You got to go to this place because this person asked for this. And
so nice.
It's just turned into this juggernaut.
Is she a jumper?
She only did one. And it was funny because we were out in Arizona, going to Skydive Arizona to write a guide. And I found Skydive Phoenix, and I wasn't really going to go to it. I didn't really realize at that point in my career that, Cessna drop zones are generally the most fun. And, she's like, you got to go. We're right here. So we went out, met some really amazing people, actually threw a bunch of boogies there for them, what we call invasions or whatever you want to call it. And it just kind of grew, but became really good friends with them. And we got stuck on that trip due to a snowstorm. And I let Scott take her. She loved it.
Nice.
It was pretty neat. My first time trying to chase a tandem. Didn't work out so well. So she's still pissed at me. She didn't get a good video.
Yeah, fair enough. That does happen occasionally. So it was a bucket list jump for her. She just kind of went, okay, that was cool, and crossed it off the list.
No, I kind of pushed her into it. I was like, you got to see what this is all about. She said she'd do it again, but she's not that into it.
No, fair enough. It's,
thank God. I don't think I could afford all of us.
Right. Well, especially if you've got one daughter that's into it. How about the others?
So my 12-year-old is the skydiver or tunnel rat. Just turned 11. She drives like little Indy cars, but not the ones you go to the mall. These are like the ones that do 140 miles an hour.
Right.
And you're just terrified the whole time. And then my youngest, my 7-year-old, she just got out of a wheelchair, so she's still trying to find her own way.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's got to present some. Well, I'll tell you what, though, it's got to be cool that she's in a family that's so varied, and especially the extreme thing. I mean, let's face it, when it comes to doing the car stuff or the skydiving stuff, we're all kind of finding our own way in a new world as well. So that's got to be a great example for her, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We kind of encourage our kids that you can do anything you want. The oldest, Ryan, the tunnel rat, when she was in utero, the doctor actually told us to abort her. He said she would not be normal. You got to terminate the pregnancy. And I was like, yeah, I just watched my kid suck her thumb like on a 3D sonogram. So no.
Right.
And she was born. She had a lot of leg and foot issues. She still goes through it. But yeah, we always encourage, like, do what you can. We got your back. And where she is now, I mean, she's Ryan at 9 was sponsored by Cookie. She's sponsored by Liquid Sky. I mean, it's incredible to watch what she's done, and not even able to walk a mile, like she walks a mile and she's in tears. And
Man,
pretty cool.
that's fucking incredible. I mean, it blows me away. And I think I've talked about them probably on almost every fucking podcast. Is the Wittenbergs are just? I remember watching Kaylee's video 9 on Vimeo. And probably the most epic tunnel video I'd ever seen. More because she was doing things in that tunnel I can't do and never will be able to do. And she was doing it at fucking 9. It was the attitude and the mentality and just being blown away by that. And then it dawning on me, oh my God, imagine how good she's going to be when she's in her 20s, if she continues, even if she doesn't take it up as a lifestyle, for work or anything, but just does it for enjoyment. Oh my God.
Well, first thing first, she is an amazing little human being.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yes.
I got to meet Dan and Mike out at Rosemount this year. And man, the way these kids are with each other, they took Ryan, who was super nervous. She's like a really shy kid. And, just made it a family, made it fun. And it was just awesome to see all these kids together. There's so many good kids, but those two are just outrageous.
Yep.
You got Naya, you got Sydney.
Yep.
They're awesome. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the sky. Ryan right now, she already says, she's like, tunnel's fun, but I can't wait to jump. So she's waiting 4 more years. She'll be 16. We're hoping we'll get a waiver and she'll get up there. So she'll be cool.
Sure.
We actually just built her. Or building her a tunnel rig so she can start learning to fly dynamic with the rig on her back.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I started late in my skydiving career. I didn't start jumping until I was almost 27. So I can't even imagine if I had started jumping at fucking 16 years old. Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous.
Already able to fly head down on jump 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be neat.
Oh, absolutely. Now, so separate the skydiver in you from the parent in you. What does the parent in you think about your kid strapping on a rig and jumping out of an airplane doing something that we all know is dangerous?
They're going to do what they're going to do, right? So if you think about it like as drugs too, you can just be there to sort of guide them. Like, you don't do drugs, or when you start to skydive, be safe. And let's face it, the sport's safe. Getting in your car every day, that's more dangerous. As long as you take precautions. So I'm not opposed to it. I know I've heard in some of your other podcasts, you talk about, having your daughter on a drop zone. So, I just keep getting covered in tattoos and growing my facial hair and getting ready to protect, I suppose. But, I tell her every day, anything you do with a boy, I'm doing with his mother. And I mean that. So, that's always a topic at dinner. And then my wife will chime in. She goes, yeah, and I'm going to do it with his father. So she knows, like, they're good kids. And I just hope that, with guidance and the right training, and, you got the CIS stuff coming up that's getting huge. And she gets to go to some of those events. So she's going to have some great mentors. Something else that was really cool is she, back in the day, always had a picture of Amy Chmielewski on her wall. I'm like, I don't even know who this is. I just started skydiving, but she found her on YouTube, and she has her own money, and she's an Amazon account. So she had bought the poster. And Adrenaline Ladies had reached out to Amy and told her about Ryan. And Amy and Jeffro and all them, Roberta, came and flew with her in the tunnel for like 6 hours one day on the cuff. And it was just like so inspiring to see all these amazing women come out and do stuff for her. And I know that in the future, she's going to keep getting that sort of, mentor and stuff like that. So I'm feeling okay about it. Yeah,
that's super cool. Well, and I suppose the drop zone mentality has changed somewhat. It's still the same, but it's a little bit more empowered for women than it used to be. It used to be as soon as a woman walked onto the drop zone, it was fresh meat. And that is still very much, where my mentality sits in regard to my daughter is I remember how the drop zones were when I was coming up. And I always use Cross Keys as a reference because it was by far the there was more fucking going on in that drop zone than there was skydiving, and there was a whole lot of skydiving going on. You know, and so I would always joke around and you know, say that sure, my daughter can go for a skydive as long as she doesn't have to do it on a drop zone.
Drop zone. Yeah, it's scary. It is, but I think there's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of great DZs in the Northeast where I'd let her go and I wouldn't even worry about it.
Sure. Well, although I'm sure you'd probably be like me, I'd let her go, and I'd even let her go alone without me to supervise, but I'd make damn sure everybody knew who she belonged to.
Oh, 100%.
Like, just so you
see
know.
that octopus on the wall?
Yep.
She belongs to that octopus.
Yep. You're damn right. You're damn right.
Absolutely.
Well,
it's cool though. Yeah, I don't mind it.
No, not at all. I mean, well, and especially if you've got them in such an open frame of mind. Again, you said the attitude and the cussing and all that, and knowing where to do it properly and where to so-called misbehave, and then be able to, you know, take it up a notch and behave in polite society. Well, that's the hardest part about it, isn't it?
It is, and it's something I struggle with every day.
Yeah. Oh, God, I stopped trying for the most part. It was funny because a friend of mine had listened to one of the podcasts that I did with one of my slightly more, I don't want to say conservative, but not quite as outgoing guests as far as attitude goes, and jokingly said, wow, a fucking pilot needs to learn to read his audience. And my friend Junior's response was, that's just fucking Dean. No, it's too late. It's too late. No. You know, I learned how to keep my mouth shut in proper places, but for the most part, a lot like you, I'm sure I don't believe there's such a thing as a bad word, just a bad time to use it.
Yeah, it seemed to always be getting my timing mixed up, even in my corporate career. Just a weird guy.
But that's kind of fun. So now, you said you did the engineer stuff. So
yep.
It must have been, are you still doing that kind of stuff, or are you strictly doing the website now?
No, I am gainfully employed. I am an engineer in New York, structural, but I mainly do disaster recovery, actually. So
really?
I get sent all over the country. Yeah, I get sent all over the country, and I set up like mobile communications for a very large company, and it's fun. Yeah.
So, like, when you see a fucking hurricane on the horizon, you're like, all right, don't plan anything for this week. I'm going to be busy.
Well, I missed TSK last week because I was down in North Carolina on the Outer Banks. So, it seems, and it's always TSK. Like, you'll set your tent up and boom, you got to go down to the Keys. Boom, you got to go over to, you know, the Panhandle. So, yeah, that's been my life.
Fucking hell.
Yes, wildfires, you name it.
So I'm guessing you're not much of a climate change denier then.
No. I travel, you know, just with Puss Foot. I'm generally gone every Friday through Monday, and then with work, I can be gone months. So, but I always have my rig. That's all that matters. So I get
sure.
Now, and stuff.
So
really well.
for your normal work, it's only in the U.S. or do you do anything abroad?
No, mainly in the U.S. This last one, I did help a little bit logistically with the Bahamas. Next time something like that happens, I'll take some PTO and wind up going out and doing my stuff on the cuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, continental United States, Puerto Rico, we helped out with, but it's cool. It's exciting. You know, you're actually getting to help people in a true sense of it. You know, you're handing out water or food and giving them, you know, communications, and it's rewarding. I actually enjoy it.
Well, sure. Well, and I always find it interesting to find somebody that can balance the skydiving life as active as you are in it with the real world as well. That's not something that I was able to do. Well, I did to some degree, but my real world was being a fucking stripper. So I didn't exactly have to be, you know, it wasn't a responsible life that I was having to trade in between. It was just two different types of inappropriate.
Yeah, it's funny you say the stripper thing, because this morning, on my Facebook feed from 10 years ago today, I got a picture of me in my turnout gear when I was doing the volunteer fireman thing, wearing my helmet covered in coconut oil, wearing a Speedo with it undone. It was my first and only time stripping. I couldn't get to my friend's bachelor party, and I jokingly said, how about I go strip at your, you know, fiance's? And he's like, you got to do it. And then all of a sudden the phone call started. I look at my wife, I'm like, yeah, they really want me to strip. She's like, well, you got to go. So we drove home. I got all coconutted up and put on the Speedo and then like my, you know, the pants, the bunker pants. And
sure.
I pull into this Holiday Inn and there's 600 Albanian women that were just ravishing me. I mean, it was terrible, not terrible. It was a lot of fun. My wife actually took video of the whole thing, so it was
Good for her.
it was pretty epic. But yeah, that picture just showed up today. My one and only time stripping.
How
Yeah.
fucking funny is that? I actually just
Hmm.
had to, when Junior David Ludwig got married, a little over a year ago now. I wasn't able to make it to the wedding, and his now wife asked me to send a video clip that she was going to be showing him when he was getting ready for the wedding. And same kind of thing. I just thought I'd fuck around because I wasn't there, and I did this entire video wearing a sock over my balls and cock. Just like, here you go, Junior. Period. And I had a guitar in front of me and walked away. And because why not? What the fuck?
Yeah,
I've been naked for 11 years as a career, so I might as well have a little bit of fun with it.
it seems appropriate. Absolutely. I mean, every time I start, at a boogie, I start out as Brian with an I, but after, two bottles of Fireball, Brian with a Y comes out, and I'm generally never clothed. So I guess I do have a kind of a stripping career in that aspect. Every boogie,
It's just
everyone pretty much knows.
more of a pro bono career.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. It's like, hey, I got the Fireball. Let's take off my clothes now.
So with the website, you get to. I mean, you're doing the full boogie circuit. You're out all over the place.
Yeah, this year actually really picked up. I started doing a bunch for Spaceland, and now it just seems like every other weekend I'm organizing at another drop zone.
So what's your
this
home drop zone now?
Let's see. I started at the ranch. I got my license there, but Sussex. I'm up at Sussex with Rich Winsock and Shauna Finley.
I know Sussex. I did.
Yeah,
I chucked more than a few drogues over that.
it's a good DZ.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's beautiful out there too.
Oh, absolutely. And we got Mike Matthews playing. We got one of his caravans. So
Nice.
things super fast. They turn loads all day, and it's really a fun jumper drop zone. So he will never kick a fun jumper off for a tandem, and I think that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty epic.
And, yeah, and we turn loads up there often when I can get there. I mean, I've I've been a bad supporter of them this year. I've just been traveling so much,
So
Florida, Texas, wherever you name it.
with the boogie circuit, what's your top 3 list in the boogies? Which ones do you like the best?
Oh man, it's a loaded question because they're all pretty much awesome. But Coastal Carolinas did a boogie this year called Point Break, and then the people that show up is what makes a boogie for me, right? It's
Sure.
the party. Sometimes I'll go to a boogie, I won't even jump. I'm just there to have fun, make sure everyone's having fun. But I was organizing there, and that one happened to be just I think it was a setting, right? You had the beach. We're doing beach jumps all day long. Their King Air is super fast. They were just turning loads after loads, and the people were epic, and the party was just phenomenal for a small boogie. I mean, maybe 100 people. That one's going to be on my my list for this year.
Nice.
And then Burning Low Man at Suffolk, they're starting back up with more fun jumper oriented,
Nice.
and that for a first year was just outrageous. We had an amazing time at that one. What else is good?
I mean,
My main buggy.
there's always Summerfest, and Summerfest is just a massive blowout, but it's kind of like the Burning Man of the Woodstock, I should say, of boogies every year because it took over for the convention in a massive way.
Absolutely. I've never made it. I've never made it there. I feel
You
like
know,
a bad skydiver.
I've only made it to a couple of the parties afterwards. I've never jumped at Summerfest because when I was in the Midwest, I was flying for the competition. So I'd fly all
Sure.
day, and then you'd hop in the van, and everybody would bus over to Chicago and party their asses off. But I was also always fucking flying every weekend, so I'd have to party in small bits, and couldn't really indulge, so to speak.
Yeah, well, responsibilities, man. It's tough.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
a tough
tell you
life
what.
we live.
Right? Well, it was kind of funny because I've always balanced it out as much as I possibly could. I always, especially once I became a tandem instructor, I always took that responsibility very, very seriously. So I wouldn't party before a big work day. I just wouldn't do it because I knew myself and I knew I'd be faded. I took that experience and that responsibility times 10 as soon as I started flying the plane because, wow, when you got 20 people sitting behind you, that's just nothing to fuck around with. So
Uh-huh.
now, before even just a normal day of flying, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. I won't even have a glass of wine. Super,
It's
super mellow.
Yeah, but I mean that's the balance, right? And you got 20 souls behind you. You got to do what's right for them. So I give you kudos. You know,
Well,
see that you're doing the right thing.
you have to. And I mean, at the end of the day, I got to look in the mirror and realize, all right, I didn't put anybody at risk. And I can't imagine looking in the mirror going, ooh, I'm glad I made it through that day. You
Exactly.
know, that never seemed like a good idea. Now, that being said, certainly in the past, when I knew the next day was off, oh, all right, all bets are off. Let's see how weird this can get. And it generally did get pretty fucking weird. It just never happened to be at Skydive Chicago. But maybe someday in the future when I'm retired.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I try to make it weird like every night, but I just don't mix um, pleasure and skydiving, if that makes sense.
Oh, very much so.
I got 3 kids. Yeah, I got to get home to them. I mean, I fly a really docile canopy. I don't pull those, snake shit low jumps.
Sure.
I just try to make sure that I'm getting back at the end every day, and anyone I'm taking up with me is also getting back.
Sure. Well, and
So it's
I started really getting really busy into skydiving pretty much right away, and it was also still back in the safety meeting days. If you remember those, everybody'd go have their safety meeting behind the hangar midway through the day. Well, I personally am a horrible stoner. For any new skydivers or anybody that doesn't jump that's listening, a safety meeting was basically an excuse to sneak around to the back and smoke a blunt, and get blazed. Yeah. And it was a perfectly normal thing to do, but I can't fucking tie my shoelaces if I've smoked any marijuana. So going for a skydive was never a thing. I was never a particularly big fan of that because you always put yourself in someone else's shoes. And because I was so horrible with that substance in me, the thought of making a skydive was so horrifying. I just assumed everybody else was the same way on that stuff. And how the fuck could they be skydiving?
yeah, I don't get how some people just function perfectly.
No, man, there's no way. It's I've become instantly fucking paranoid. The entire world is against me. I can't quite figure out how to stand up. And the odds of putting on a parachute and doing everything that I need to do, even if I'm just by myself, not a chance. Not a fucking chance in hell. So I could never understand that. And so I just kind of, I don't want to say I looked down my nose at it, but I didn't so much approve for myself. And then in Cross Keys, I watched a buddy of mine go in raging drunk with nothing out. And that was when I became 100% against any active substance being in any jumper while you're jumping, period.
100%.
I am so against that. It just turns my stomach, to think that anybody would either put anybody else at risk like that or especially put themselves at risk like that. Because at the end of the day, you're somebody's really good friend. You're somebody's son. You're somebody's daughter. You're somebody's, whatever. It's just, come on, don't do it. So,
yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's just so irresponsible, not only just for yourself, but for the people around you.
Absolutely. I mean, what you want to do on the ground when you're not jumping, once the sun goes down, fucking have at it. Go big. It's experience it all. Try whatever the hell you want to try as long as it's safe then, and don't be under the influence when it's time to put that parachute on.
100%.
Yeah.
It's sun goes down. I'm a booze hound. I mean, I can't do anything else,
Sure.
Unfortunately, with my job. But I get into the booze, maybe a couple of, whippets or something like that. But that's it for me. I just want to make sure I'm sober in the morning. And if I'm still shaky, I won't go up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I won't go up until I know I'm good.
Well, for me, it's a wine or a few drinks with the friends, and like I said, I'm a horrible stoner, so I hate that stuff. It just doesn't work for me, and all the other stuff went by the wayside quite a while ago. So I look back with fond memories at all the stupid shit that I used to do with chemical entertainment, but those days are a bit behind me now, unless the chemical is alcohol and it comes in a wine bottle.
Oh yeah, and I also got to be a really good influence on the kids. They have so much going on. You don't need to let them see, dad messed up on whatever. And
for sure,
keep it where I'm at. And I'm having plenty of fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I generally am the spectacle at every boogie, unfortunately. Then you have to go around and tell everyone, hey, can you just show me what footage you're going to use for this video?
Right.
Yeah, one just came out 2 days ago, and it's got me, basically wearing a thong and high heels, walking around at Skydive Suffolk, getting my ass spanked by a kid in a tutu. I'm like, oh, come on, man. You put that out and you tagged me in my real account.
Good form.
Oh.
Good form.
Yeah,
You try and say, come on, a little party etiquette here and make sure that it's on the fun account. I'm my own worst enemy, though, because I've been writing for the magazine for so long that I'll sit down and, I'll get a message from my editor saying, hey, you're due, you need something. And I'm, fuck, all right. well, shit, I'll just write about this. And when I'm done, I hit the send button, and it turns out that I've just written about some other ridiculous shit that I did, and I've outed myself for something else. Hit the send button, and it's too late. There it goes. Shit. Fuck. So I'm my own worst enemy, man. I tell on myself more than anybody else.
Yeah, I try not to hide any of it. I think like one of my craziest nights was out at Mark Hoag's place last November. We throw a boogie every year. It's Jump for Valor presents. So Jump for Valor presents Battle for America, or this year is just going to be Jump for Valor. But we bring in a ton of military, and let me tell you, they're a lot of fun to play with. They have just no holes bars. And I had this woman's one-piece bathing suit, like a cat eating a taco on it. And I'm wearing a tutu and that. And the next thing you know, the tutu's gone, and my balls are just falling out all over the place. So I had like an entire platoon of Marines sign them. And there's pictures everywhere of this. Of just me sitting there with my mullet wig and a woman's one-piece bathing suit with these dudes in Sharpies just signing my junk. And I think it's like one of my favorite photos, actually.
I see a theme with you. I see a definite theme. There's the women's clothing, there's heels, lots of tutus.
Lots of tutus. Yeah. And we also bring an 18-inch black dildo named Reggie with us wherever we go.
Of course you do.
He's our mascot.
Well, who doesn't?
You got to have him.
I actually once got to do a jump with an 18-inch black dildo.
It's fun.
This one wasn't actually nearly as much fun as you'd think. We'd had, this may be a bit before your time, but there was a camel flyer by the name of Vic Papadato. Vic Papadato was the camera side of an X Games champion skysurf team. Unfortunately, sure. Vic went in on a skydive that actually involved an 18-inch black dildo. So in order to fight the rather unfortunate legal case that was brought against the drop zone and jumpers, we had to show that a jumper could in fact track effectively while holding an 18-inch black cock. So I happened to be the camera guy that had to help do this, and jumped out with another instructor who, right in front of me, turned 180, tracked away and tracked back while I'm filming him flying around the sky with a big black dick.
I love it.
As you'll do, knowing full well that this footage is going to end up in a California courtroom at some point. Come on, you can't write that shit. It doesn't get any weirder than that. And yeah, that was just a kind of, we got to go jump with the cock.
Well, I mean, who doesn't? Ours is a strap on, so sometimes we'll put them on. But if you're in a nice sit position, he'll come up and snap you in the chin. So,
and his name's Reggie.
Yeah, that's what he got named. We went through a lot of names for him, and it was deemed that by the crew.
So,
pretty good.
Now, being the father of 3 daughters in the Me Too era, especially with their ages, they're at those formative ages, does it weird you out at all that skydiving is so completely out of the norm when it comes to that whole Me Too thing? I mean, it doesn't seem... Skydiving is still a very inappropriate sport in regard to how athletes behave, but it's inappropriate from all sides, male and female.
100%. Sometimes the girls are worse.
Oh, yeah. And which is the ultimate in equal rights as far as I'm concerned, because I know quite a few women that can make me fucking blush. Like, oh, God, Did she just say that shit? So, and I got a lot of shit for this when I wrote an article shortly after the whole Me Too thing started, because I was like, but wait a second, all the women that I know are a bunch of badasses that are as big a pigs as the men are, and sometimes dramatically worse. But I think they were more upset that it was coming from a guy than anything else, and I completely understand. And I also understand that some of the inappropriate shit that happens in skydiving isn't cool, but for the most part, it all seems extremely acceptable. Right up until you toss kids into the mix, that's where it starts to get a little weird. Well,
there's one thing I have to say: you don't bring a kid to a boogie; it's inappropriate.
Right.
The sidebar for a second off your question. I remember being at TSK. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. My first time ever at a boogie, by the way. And I went to TSK, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's not a boogie. It's a festival of just pure amazing. But I'm in the foam pit, basically naked. And I look down and there's like a 10-year-old kid wearing like short shorts and a bow tie around his neck. And I'm like, it blew my mind. I'm like, why is there a child at 3:00 in the morning in the foam pit?
Right.
So there's lines that need to be met. Like, you don't bring a child to the drop zone and let them see half this stuff. My kids don't see half these things. I don't want them to yet. But as far as like the Me Too movement goes in it, there are certain lines that I think shouldn't be crossed. And, unfortunately, sometimes they are.
Sure.
Especially from the male side, but I see it on the female side too. It's I don't know. I'm not I guess I am a sociologist by trade, but I'm not. Well, college, what a waste of time that was. I don't. I don't have an answer for it, but I do feel like when you step onto a drop zone, there's no, color, religion, gender, and that's sort of what makes it all okay. Because if a woman's saying something or a man saying something, it's all in jest and it's all understood that, hey, when we leave here, this is not who we are. But while we're here, we get to be, the better versions of ourselves that aren't going to go and sue you for a comment or, blast you out on the internet, and we can have fun and just be our true selves,
Sure.
and get along. But when we leave, there's got to be a certain etiquette that should follow with it. And I think a lot of the issues stem from like Facebook and stuff, where on the drop zone, it's fine. But then, hey, I might be sitting at my desk and you send me something that's completely inappropriate with, loud porn sounds coming out of it. And, why'd you do that?
Sure. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, definitely what happens on the drop zone as opposed to what happens in the real world should be two different things. I guess when that all started, I wasn't shocked by people getting upset. I was just a bit caught off guard because I had always operated under the assumption that everybody was on the same page at the drop zone. And because I had never been one to try and be inappropriate in what's the way I'm wanting to put it? I never intentionally tried to, be inappropriate or hurt someone's feelings or do anything along those lines. It had always been in fun. I assumed everyone else was behaving the same way. Now, that was just me being a bit naive, I guess, and not realizing there was also some pretty nasty shit going on that shouldn't have in skydiving.
Yeah, but that's anywhere, right?
Sure.
Like, you're going to have that asshole. And let's just say, so what are we up to? Like 50,000 people in the States or something like that. It's still very low.
Sure.
But even if it is that high, out of those 50,000 people, you're going to have a 10% dick base, right? So they're going to do things that shouldn't be done. And those people are generally weeded out. They quit skydiving because they just don't fit in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess that was kind of what I always had assumed. But, I wrote that article, and again, I ruffled some feathers, rightly so, just for not really knowing my subject matter, so to speak.
Sure. Well,
And there's always that etiquette. I wrote an article a long time ago for Blue Skies that was all about, what did I call it? I called it PC line dancing. And it was all about that dance that we do on the drop zone during the day around customers and then when it's just us. And that you have to learn to behave in a slightly more politically correct way, or actually quite a bit more politically correct around the tandem students and their families and people cheering them on than you do around just a bunch of jumpers. But that as soon as the sun goes down, take your kids off the drop zone because shit's going to get weird.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the things I actually do is whenever I'm at a drop zone, I like to spend time with the tandems. I am a little weird still. I'm not like full, Brian with a Y, but I make them laugh. I get the nervousness out, and I think it's about retention, right? So once they realize that, hey, there is a lot of fun that goes on here, you see a lot of these guys coming back, take ground school, guys,
sure.
Girls, doesn't matter. So, I know Rich loves it. I get a little weird with the tandems, and they'll always look over and just smile. And then you'll see them a week later. It's like, wow, it's working.
Absolutely.
Like, wow, you're actually bringing more people in because they're not just sitting there freaking out. They're making them laugh and doing strange things. So not playing with a dildo or cross-dressing, but
right. Right. Well, although I have been known to fly in a skirt and, believe it or not, a bright pink tutu. So even cross-dressing is just fine with me. That doesn't bother me a bit.
We were down in Sebastian. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we were down in Sebastian this year. Let's see, we did, what the hell's the name of that boogie? I do it every year. Everglades boogie. And then we drove over, and I wound up putting on my bathing suit and tutu, and I got into the pool at Captain Hiram's. No skydivers, just me. And I started splashing myself on the stairs. Not one person batted an eye. Man, Florida's a weird place. I thought for sure I would have had like tons of reactions. I even walked into the hotel and tried to rent a bike. The woman looks me up and down once. And I'm like, "You're doing well." She goes, "I worked at Disney." So I love Florida. Florida's the only place I can go and just, walk around town in a one-piece bathing suit and a tutu and no one bats an eye.
Hey, why not? Well, there or the Village in Manhattan, you can probably get away with that too.
100%.
On
my one week.
I ended up in the Village for flight training a couple of years back on of all nights Halloween. Holy shit, do those folks know how to party? I
Epic.
I have a beautiful picture of myself and the other pilot that I was there training with, standing with a woman that was dressed as a 5'5" tall vagina that she had named Jeb Bush, and she was handing out little pictures of Jeb Bush's head. It was fucking amazing. Absolutely, I'm like, you should be a skydiver.
Oh, 100%.
It was phenomenal. But yeah, the whole kids on the drop zone thing, it's cool in one respect, when the sun's up and when it's not too weird, because they get to see that it's alternate lifestyles that you can go out and do well and enjoy yourself and live and enjoy and be successful. But yeah, once that sun goes down for a 12-year-old, I don't think they need to see just how truly strange some of these drop zones can get.
No, oh yeah, it's just inappropriate. There's a time and a place.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, that being said, so you've been jumping for how many years now?
Oh, short. I'm actually really short in the career. 6 now, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I just talked to Zedge from Blue Skies Magazine, who's, low time as well, but again, amazing ideas and super energy being brought into the sport, which is fucking fantastic. It really adds a whole new life to it. And for somebody like me that's been in the sport almost 25 years, it keeps that excitement going, which is really, really cool.
Zedge is a really cool cat. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to be interviewing him for Puss Foot. We're going to put a piece up.
Nice.
So, yeah,
he's a total fucking nutcase. I love him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So the 6 years in the sport, your daughters obviously have been part of that the entire time. And it's neat that you've kind of let them see, bits and pieces of it. But do they know how weird Dad gets when they're not around? Like, do they know, but they don't see it?
They do. I mean, they know. It's fine. Again, they know that you need to be a certain person in, one platform, and you can be another in another platform.
Like, do they know when Brian with a Y is hanging out with them?
No, I don't let them get to Brian with a Y. That's not appropriate for family. But I'm still crying, at home. So,
sure.
I got the 3 personalities, and crying's fine there. They come out and they'll chill while I'm writing on the, computer and stuff, and we'll go and do stuff. But there's always that fine line that we walk it in the Casserly household. And I think my kids are going to be better for it. Like you look at some of these parents that raise their children and they hold them back from everything.
Sure.
And what do those kids wind up being later in life? They're selling drugs. They're sleeping with everyone because their parents said no.
Sure.
I tell my kids all day long, I'm like, I'd rather you smoke pot than drink.
Sure.
When you get old, it's going to be legal soon enough anyhow. Well, why, Dad? Because, that drunk girl has no problem doing whatever with that guy because she can't make the right choices. But if you're smoking pot, you're going to be playing in a drum circle or picking up trash and drop stuff.
Sure.
You're just going to be chilling.
Sure.
So I'd rather you do that. But hopefully, I raised them, well enough, and that's good. And another weird thing is I'm a religion teacher, so I go and teach Sunday school for them, and I walk a really weird balance.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. From over this conversation, if you had asked me to sum you up, religion teacher would not have been on the list.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, I'm so big in it that I've been stealing people from all the other churches. And there's a waiting list to get into Mr. Casserly's classroom because I make it fun. And then how I got involved with that, just so you know, is, you have 3 daughters, and automatically once you have a penis, you're not allowed to do anything with your kids.
Sure.
It's especially where I live. It's big no. You can't do anything with your kids because, the other girls shouldn't be subjected to a man for some odd reason.
Right.
So that was the only platform I had to actually be with my kids. And it just became this really weird part of my life. but it's fun. There's the respectable me.
And that's the funny thing is that's the part that you consider the weird part, whereas the rest of the so-called quote unquote normal world would consider everything else that you do outside of your normal job, would consider all the skydiving and the boogies and all that the weird part.
Yeah, I guess I look at it a bit backwards, but I got one life to live, and I want to know that on that last moment, that last breath, that I had fun, and I did a good job as a dad, and good job in my community as well.
Yeah, I mean, and
So
those really, when it comes down to it, those are the most important things, right? I mean, it's not about the money in the bank or the car that you drive or even the kind of rig you jump or the parachute you fly. It's doing something that you truly enjoy and making sure that the people that are around you that you care about know that you care, and looking out for them as much as you can, and then go fucking live. I think that's something that skydivers, well, any extreme athlete or any extreme sports enthusiast learns very early on in their career is that, man, life comes and goes pretty fucking easily. So, saving up for a rainy day that might not come sounds like a decent idea, but not doing the things that you want to do for fear that they're the wrong choices is just stupid.
I say make mistakes.
Fuck yes,
Yeah, wrong with it.
absolutely. Every mistake that
Every
I've
day.
made has made me a better person, and I've only ended up in the places that I've ended up in because I fucked something up. You know,
Exactly.
you know, and you only fuck it up if
100%.
you're willing to take chances. People that don't take chances are just stuck, and I've never understood and always admired, because with extreme athletes, I've never understood normal people's aversion to taking chances, and I've always admired the extreme mentality of looking for those, opportunities to fuck up. I want to screw up. That's one of the reasons that I enjoy being a mediocre skydiver, because there's a really good chance that I'm going to be the one that takes that skydive out and that I fuck
Yeah.
it up, and I'm going to learn something, and I'm going to have fun and enjoy and kind of further myself instead of just the same place, same thing day after day after day.
Now, monotony is the death of humanity. I
Right?
think that just doing strange things every day, at least once a day, I try to do something completely out of the box.
Yeah, what was the
Whether
one?
it's becoming a religion teacher, like it's nutty.
Fuck, that's so far out of the box for me. I can't, I can't even imagine. I had a skydiver friend of mine years back asked me to photograph his wedding, and as a matter of fact, he was just on the podcast a couple of weeks back. A guy by the name of Jim Dolan, one of the flying Elvi out of Las Vegas. So he asked.
I listened to that podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jim had asked me to photograph his wedding, and it turned out to be a wedding in a Roman Catholic church. I'm not
Nice.
Roman Catholic. I know nothing about it. I was baptized as a kid, but I'm not. I'm not an overly religious person and know nothing about the church. So when I went in to take pictures, the priest told me, "Okay, you can take pictures here and here, but you can't go here, here, and here." Okay, got it. The ceremony starts, and I start clicking pictures away left, right, and center. But he didn't bother to tell me, unfortunately, that there was a time that I could not take pictures in the ceremony. So flashes going off, I'm taking pictures all over the place. He stopped the ceremony and ripped into me for, how did he put it, for interfering with his congregation's ability to receive the word of God. I was waiting to burst into fucking flames. To this day, it's one of the biggest memories I have with Jim was ruining his wedding.
You're a sinner. You're a sinner.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes.
I so raised Roman Catholic, and it's funny. So I still have this deep seated. I'm not a very religious person. I guess maybe I am. I don't know. But I have this deep seated thing where I have to say, an Our Father, a Hail Mary, and an act of contrition before every jump. It's my little OCD type thing, and I love doing it on the plane. I love doing it on the plane, and I'll stop everyone. I'll be like, stop. And, my whole crew, all my guys I'm with, they understand what I'm doing. But you look over at the guys who have no idea, or some of the other people, and then you do that, sign of the cross, and just the faces. It just makes me smile. And then I'll calm everyone down with a couple of jokes. I mean, I sing The Little Mermaid the whole way to altitude. That's sort of my thing.
Nice.
But yeah, there's nothing better than doing that in the door as you're leaving, sign of the cross.
Well, especially when you got a bunch of tandem students or low time jumpers that are all, he's got a fucking rig on. That guy knows what he's doing.
He's praying.
Yeah, what are my odds if he's doing the cross in the door? Holy shit.
Oh,
yeah.
It's fun. It's just fun. But
for sure.
That's everyone who knows me knows that, if you can't find Brian right before I jump, he's probably, behind the shed doing his thing. I don't know why. I just have to.
Oh, everybody's got their little thing. My tick was always my handles checks, like obsessively so, like 5, 6, 8, 10 times, without even thinking about it. I'll be in the middle of telling a horrible gay joke or something, just totally inappropriate and just being a complete pig. And while I'm doing it, I'm checking my handles. That was my fucking tick all the time. That was my tick. Or I would, when I had tandem students, I would get the harness all set, and with the lateral straps, I would tuck them in, and then sometime before the door opened, I would untuck them and then tuck them back in for no fucking reason.
Well, it's not a bad tick to have. I mean, I go through my handles at least 10 times on the way to altitude. I feel like that's just good muscle memory.
Oh, yeah. No, I want to know where those fucking things are. I've had to use them more than a few times, so it's definitely important.
Yeah. I'll never forget when I switched over to a PUD, when I wound up starting to work with Mirage. They had sent me a new rig, and I never jumped a PUD, and I was terrified. I'm like,
right?
How am I going to know? Like, oh, my God, it's not there. And that one became really obsessive with me for the first few jumps, just going over that nonstop.
Oh, yeah. We fear change, man. We fear change.
Yeah.
You change up the systems, and oh man, it's on. Something new's going on. You know, I mean, that's like every time you jump a different canopy for the first time, you're just, all right, fuck, here it comes. All those little things. Well, and it's funny because people that aren't in skydiving, or just come out and do a tandem, or for anybody that's listening that's never jumped or doesn't know really what we're talking about too much, people assume that somebody that's been in the sport for a long time is just, yeah, let's go. No, man, shit makes me nervous. I've got all my little tics and all my little nerves and all my little minor panic attacks that you got to get past to be an active skydiver. And I don't think I would want to be a skydiver if it didn't occasionally freak me out.
I think being freaked out though is what puts us into that mode, right? So if I'm jumping and I'm not nervous, I kind of get nervous that I'm not nervous.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't think I've ever, and this is 11,000 jumps later, I don't think I've ever been 100% comfortable stepping off an airplane, and I wouldn't want to be. It's that ability to feel the fear or feel those nerves, overcome them, and have fun that makes the whole thing so special.
That's what Puss Foot stands for, man. It's like, that you're in the door and you get that tingle and it starts coming up your leg and then it goes up to your brain and shoots back down your right leg. And then you start getting those jello legs. It's only a few people, like in our community, not in the world, I should say, but our community is all of them that have been able to take those, octopus tentacle legs and straighten them back out and just overcome that and do something inspiring.
Oh yeah. That's what it's all about.
That's what Puss Foot is. It's the ability just to be inspired, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else, just get past it. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Jumping out of a plane, that's caveman stuff. We were told back, that's bred into us, while we're hunting thousands of years ago, pushing, like cows off cliffs. That's what they would do. They knew not to fall off that cliff. And now every day we jump out of a plane, we're breaking this, instinct that's been bred into us forever. So
absolutely.
It's pretty amazing.
Well, I used to tell my tandem students that all the time, that if you're not nervous, I don't want to fucking jump with you because that means you're crazy. And, for the ones that were really nervous, I'm like, look, you're supposed to be nervous because you've got millions of years of evolution telling you not to do this and one asshole on your back saying go.
Yep.
So you should be nervous. Absolutely. But you should also know that it's 2:00 in the afternoon and I have dinner plans, so we're going to be fine.
I gotta get home to my kid to make her some sort of food.
So you got to try and explain that. Well, it was a couple months back I interviewed Olaf Zipser, and at one point even he admitted that he didn't want to be a skydiver. He wanted to be a hang gliding pilot, and the whole skydiving thing made him nervous. And you hear the father of free fly talking about being nervous on a jump, and you're like, but wait a second. First off, you're German. So there's that, and wait a second, you invented free flying, for Christ's sakes. You've got more jumps on your head than most people have skydives. You get nervous, and I loved hearing that. That's exactly what you want to hear because it means he's dealing with the same thing that everybody else is dealing with. This shit can get nerve-wracking, and it should.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's instinct, right? So we're breaking a very basic instinct. Don't step off a cliff. Don't touch the fire. These things are all very basic, and here we are, throwing a giant bonfire and getting close to it as we can, and jumping out of airplanes.
Absolutely. Well, it was I forget where I read it somewhere, but it was in regard to speaking about the fear of heights, and that fear is that it's not that you'll accidentally fall off the balcony; it's that you might jump. Which
100%.
Yeah, and I remember reading that, and nowadays I live in a high rise, and I don't like heights. I'm not a fan of heights. And I'll be on the balcony, and that always comes back to me, going, "Fuck, there's nothing stopping me from jumping. Like I can just step off this balcony anytime I want." That's where the nerves come in, because I know I'm not going to accidentally fall over a 5-foot rail. but it's those random nerves. So
it
now
makes me nervous. I mean, with the industry I'm in, I'm on high rises all the time, or walking on, scaffolding, and they all laugh at me. They're like, "Don't you jump out of planes like 6 times a week, 7 times a week, 8 times? Like you're just there every day, so 7 days a week?" I'm like, "Yeah, I go every day after work." Like, you can't walk down these stairs.
Yep.
You can't walk on the scaffolding. It's like, my legs are just jello.
It's that perspective, right? It's stepping off an airplane, the ground is just too far away to cope with. But if I'm on the 6th floor looking over a balcony, I can see exactly where my head's going to split open when I fall off.
Yes.
And that's what gets it for me, is the perspective of it all. So
I hate height.
As we're heading into the winter season, what does your schedule do now? I mean, because obviously in the States it's going to start getting cold. There's not going to be a whole lot of jumping going on. So are you aiming more with the website towards the other extreme sports that are still active? Are you like reaching out to snowboarders and skiers and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, we'll be doing some of that, but really the sun never sets on me. Kind of like the old English Empire. I'll be on a plane going south. I mean, I got, 4 boogies in the next 5-6 weeks, and then I'll start flying south.
Nice.
For the winter. But yeah, we'll start focusing more on snowboarding, skiing. We throw little events just to make things fun. Some of the smaller mountains, which helps with getting some retention, and
sure.
We just take it from there. But we'll be out, West Coast, totally on the southeast.
Awesome.
So really,
awesome.
I jump all winter. I never stop. Every weekend I'm someplace.
You can't beat that, man. Well, so now, for people that are listening in, you've got the website. Give them the website and any contact information so they know exactly how to follow you, find out what's going on, where you're going to be next, where your crew is going to be, and what you're doing.
Absolutely. So you guys can find us at pussfoot.com. That's the website. Pussfoot OG on Facebook. And if you want to follow me, if there's any more space, like I got to just delete people every other day, it's Brian Casserly. So CRINBASSERLY. And then I have Brian Casserly, like an athlete page. Instagram, Pussfoot OG. And that's basically it. I mean, you can find any of the crew there.
Awesome. And
one more thing. Jump
please.
for Valor. Jumpforvalor.org is our new endeavor. We basically started a 501c3 to put military vets through AFF, and we throw a giant boogie every year. This year is going to be in Sebastian over Veterans Day weekend. It'd be cool to see some people come out. It's getting to be rather big. Tickets are selling out like crazy, but all proceeds go right back to a real nonprofit. Every dime gets spent on vets.
Well, that's
to go through AFF,
and that's awesome too. I can imagine that that's got to be such a wonderful outlet as well for them.
It's huge, and you see it at a lot of the military drop zones. What a community, right? So you come out, maybe there's some PTSD, or you're service disabled, or anything, and now you have that support system, because there's so many military skydivers.
Sure.
And they all, they're all a band of brothers, even more so than we are.
Sure.
As skydivers. They have that skydive mentality, plus they have that whole special, platform, and they're so good to each other. So we've been bringing a lot of military skydivers in, and that's the Jump for Valor.
Jump for Valor. All right. Well, the people definitely need to check that out. And Puss Foot, man. I mean, it sounds like you've really got a leg up on pushing more for not just skydiving, although primarily, but for everything else, and bringing it into one big community, which is just fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's time to bring the fun back. Like my first boogie was TSK, like I said, and I started going to others. I'm like, this isn't a boogie. Like, what's going on here? And then that was just it. Started making them fun again. You'll see me naked at pretty much every single one of them.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's everybody try and find out exactly where you're going to be next, so we can see you naked in a tutu or with balls hanging out of a one piece.
Bring your Sharpie.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much.
Take care. And so ends another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. I am the fucking pilot. This podcast brought to you, of course, in association with Blue Skies Magazine, the greatest magazine in the known universe. Head to blueskiesmag.com so you can subscribe to the magazine, get yourself some really cool swag. You can get previously published issues. As I always tell you, you're a photographer, take awesome pictures, send them to the magazine. Seeing your shit on fucking Instagram is not nearly as cool as seeing it in print on the magazine. If you've got a story to tell it. People want to hear it. Put pen to paper. If I can write for them, so can you. Got something to sell? Got some advertising, some information that's got to get out there? Definitely hit up Blue Skies Magazine. Get it done. For me, I am the fucking pilot. You can find me on thefuckingpilot.net. That's where you can get links to all the previous podcasts, as well as both the books I've written. You've got the fucking pilot book, which is the previously published articles for Blue Skies Magazine, and of course the Accidental Stripper, both of them available in digital and print form. And I know I keep saying it, but the Accidental Stripper's coming out in audiobook as well. So head to thefuckingpilot.net, head to blueskiesmag.com, and tune in next week, same time, same bat channel. Thanks for coming out and having fun.